Hey guys, this is Isaac from Contender Bicycles, and this is a new Orbea Rise, and today we will go over the new Orbea Rise and its details and what makes it different from the previous generation. When the Rise first launched in October of 2021, it was quite a shock to the bike industry. It was one of the first e-bikes we saw launch that wasn't super ridiculously underpowered while still retaining a very, very lightweight bike overall. This Orbea Rise right here and the older generations could get between around 36 pounds, the new ones even being able to get closer to 35 pounds, which is incredible. That was unheard of at the time for e-bikes. The Orbea Rise really threw kind of a wrench into the system, and these things were flying off the shelves. The Orbea Rise is probably one of our best-selling bikes at Contender overall, e-bike or non-e-bike. They do extremely well. People love these things. The beauty of the Rise in the fact that it's an e-bike that's still super lightweight is that you can still throw it around like a normal mountain bike. You can jump with it, you can pick sticky lines, it's super maneuverable. It's like a normal mountain bike due to its really low weight, which is what makes it incredible. I think a common misconception when it comes to e-bikes is that a bigger battery and a bigger motor means you're going to have more fun. And I think the Rise is the direct contradiction to that statement. One of the biggest things you will notice when you look at this Rise compared to the previous generation is going to be the kind of facelift it got up here in the front. It now runs internally cabled routing through the headset to kind of reduce the amount of cables and clutter in the cockpit and make the bike look a lot cleaner. This goes into conjunction with an in-house made OC stem, which does match the lines of the bike and it looks very clean. Along with that, in the cockpit area, they have a new remote control module on the handlebars. This one lets you turn on the bike, paired with via Bluetooth, see what mode you're in, and see your battery life all from this right here at the front, which is pretty awesome because the old versions, they had like 3 different kinds of displays that would change depending what model you were getting, and some had compatibility issues, some didn't, which is awesome. So now that they have the new display, it's gonna be pretty awesome that all the bikes will have the same display, super easy to use, very simple, and it's a very clean cockpit look. One of the biggest things when it comes to this bike as compared to the old one is the battery life. When they came out with the alloy version of the Rise, the H series, it had a 540 watt-hour battery. When compared to the carbon version at the time, which was 360 watt-hours, that was a huge improvement in battery life. Those bikes could ride for 5.5 hours, maybe even upwards, depending on what mode you were in. And that much ride time underneath your belt was really incredible. No e-bikes around that time really had that capability. So a lot of people were buying the alloy ones instead of the carbon ones just for battery life reasons because they wanted to take those super long rides. The thing with the new carbon one, which I was super excited to see, is that it now has the same battery capabilities. It has a 540 watt-hour battery capability, and it also has a 360 watt-hour capability. You can swap the batteries in and out. So there is a 550 that you can swap out. If you drop the motor, you can pull the battery out and you can put in the other one. Most of the bikes that we will be getting here at Contender will be spec'd with the bigger battery life because our customers tend to like the bigger battery life. But you can kind of choose. Let's say you want a bike that's much lighter and much more like a traditional mountain bike in terms of feeling and handling. You can go with the smaller battery and you could get that bike even closer to 35 pounds, which is almost lighter than my current daily bike, which is non-e-bike. So that's pretty incredible. Or if you're looking to do those long rides, you want to do maybe go ride for 2 or 3 days without charging, you could go with the hydro version or the new one with the bigger battery. The bigger battery is 800 grams heavier, but you get quite a bit more life out of that. But they both fit into the same frame, so that's really awesome. You can choose batteries even with the same frame. The other thing we saw on this bike that is pretty cool is that they now have introduced the OC tool, which they have had before on the Rayon or the Occam, but there's now internal storage in the frame, so you do have a multi-tool inside of your linkage so that you can keep that on you, and if you need to do any small mid-ride adjustments, you can. So that's really awesome. The other thing they have updated on this bike is the motor itself. The motor on this bike traditionally was a Shimano EP8, and now this bike has a Shimano EP8-01. The EP8-01 is almost identical to the standard EP8. It's more or less like an update from Shimano and a firmware update that kind of helps this bike ride a little bit better, has a little bit more battery life, and it's a little bit smoother. The really cool thing about this motor is that this motor is actually specific to the Orbea Rise. The Shimano EP8 is on plenty of e-bikes, but the one on this bike is called the EP8 RS technically. The EP8 RS from Shimano has been tuned specifically for the Rise to have 65 Newton meters of torque at the top end of its peak instead of the standard 85. and it's meant to be smoother pedaling and feel a little bit more natural, which means that when you hop on the Rise, it feels more like a normal mountain bike, but you feel less fatigued as a rider instead of like a motorcycle with that instant kick. So it feels much more natural to you as the rider, which is really, really awesome, and that also increases on your battery life. The other thing you'll see on the Rise are going to be these wheels. The new Ukwo wheels, which Orbea has launched this year, will be coming on all of the Rises. They used to spec them between like Race Face, or they would spec them with Mavic wheels, or depending on whatever they could get on their hands on, and now they're all going to be Ukwo, which is an in-house made brand. That means warranties for this wheel will be handled through Orbea, and all the wheels will be specific to the bike model, which is really awesome. They come with DT Swiss hubs, which are super reliable and easy to find parts for, which is really, really great. And then getting parts when you're in the middle of the desert is gonna be a little bit easier because whatever shops nearby will probably have parts for your DT Swiss hubs. One of the big things about this bike, which I would love to see, is the charge port cover. The previous charge port cover compared to this one has a little bit more durable and it's easier to use as a customer, which we really, really like to see. The durability of this charge port cover increased quite a bit. The new Orbea Rise is pretty awesome with the amount of new updates it has. It's a perfect bike for anybody looking in just to get more laps in the amount of precious time they have after work before the sun sets during the summer. It's perfect for anybody looking to keep up with their kids or anything along those lines. If you have any questions about the Orbea Rise, feel free to call us, or the link will be in the description below, or feel free to stop by and look at one. We are located at 989 East, 900 South in Salt Lake City, Utah. And if you have any other questions, we're also reachable by email. Anyways, if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Thank you so much.